Hi, class. Today, I want to talk to you about common social media sizes and safe zones when creating content. And in addition to that, I want to talk about how you can use ChatGPT or other AI platforms to help you brainstorm. And then we're going to kind of end it off with making some reels and stories today. We'll use Snapchat, which is something I think you'll be familiar with and you probably are already using and doing and know how to do. And we'll end it with Adobe Express and possibly a piece of software you haven't used yet. So, a big activity today, so let's go ahead and get started. And everything we're doing today is going to help you with this next assignment that I'll be introducing. So, starting about social media content sizes, and there's a few sizes that I would say are most common. And that would be your story reel sizes. So if you're going to create a story, you're going to create a reel. Typically, these are your dimensions that you're going to be using. As a ratio, we hear it called 9 by 16. So, and that would be our stories and reels, not just for Instagram here, but that's also for Snapchat, that's for Facebook, that's for YouTube, Shorts. So anytime we're in that portrait, taking up our full screen for stories and reels, those would be our dimensions. And this is in pixels, by the way, which might be a new dimension for a lot of you. So that would end with a px. So 1080 pixels wide by 1920 pixels tall, or 9 by 16. If we're going to do a post, like a feed post, typically our image sizes there are 1-to-1 ratio. That would be square, and that you'd be looking at 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. The next common size I would say is the portrait feed, and that's a 4:5 ratio, and that's 1080 pixels wide by 1350 pixels tall. And I would say that those dimensions are kind of taking over. It used to be the one by one ratio. The 1080 by 1080 was super popular, but I feel like that's kind of ran its course. And now those portrait dimensions are kind of taking over. Again, not in just Instagram, but Facebook as well, and some of your other platforms too. And then there is still a landscape feed dimension. In that, you're looking at a size of about 1080 pixels wide and 566 pixels tall. So when creating content, it's important that we know what we're creating content for, because look at all the different sizes. The worst thing we can do is go out, shoot this awesome video, and be super excited about it and think this is going to be great for social media, and then find like a social media story or reel, and then find we captured that video in landscape. So, ouch, not much we can do about that. And I don't know about you, but I hate when I go to reels or I'm scrolling through reels and there's this landscape video in my 9 by 16 dimensions, when I'm holding my phone in portrait mode. So that's really important as a marketer, is to know what we're creating our content for. Because if it's going to be for a feed, an in-post feed, those are different dimensions than if it's going to be a story or reel. And we have to kind of use this phrase, start with the end in mind, right? Start with the end in mind. You have to know what your output is for. If it's for YouTube, then you bet I'm probably recording these landscape style shots for YouTube. But if it's for YouTube Shorts, then that's different. Then we're back to that 9 by 16 ratio for portrait. So begin with the end in mind. On top of that, especially if we are capturing for stories and reels, another thing we have to be worried about is this safe zone. And I would say this is more of an issue if you're going to design your reel. What do I mean by that? Let's say it's a video, or maybe it's a series of images that I'm gonna put into like a motion graphics, and I'm gonna create it. And this is where I would probably use Adobe Express. and maybe I grab a template out of Adobe Express. It's going to have text in it, and my pictures are going to animate in and animate out. And maybe I'll have a message in there. And let's say I put that message at the bottom frame, and then I upload this to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or wherever. And then it gets covered by all this lovely stuff down here that you forgot was going to be there. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me out of pure frustration, even being aware of it and conscious and look and previewing before I upload. I've learned to not trust Meta Business Suite preview because just been a handful of times, even within the last year, it's been problematic that my content's been covered up by the stuff Facebook puts out there. And I think that's only getting worse because now, even as you scroll, you might notice these ads that are now coming up in the bottom of your reels, and they're just taking up space down there. So that safe zone is actually quite small. And really, what that means is if you are going to add content or text or stickers or whatever, like you don't want your text covered up by Facebook's text. That's essential the moral of the story. Okay, so that's just a little bit of my, hey, let's learn a little bit about common sizes and safe zones. And now let's just go have some fun creating some content. So let's close out of that. Let's look at how we can use ChatGPT to help us. So I'm not sure where you are all coming from. If you're coming from the part of the educational institution that doesn't really let you use any AI, or if you've been using it for a long time, we are definitely in a world where we need to start using it. I actually tell my students if we're not using AI, we will be replaced by someone who is. It's going to help us be more efficient as designers. There's a lot it can do for us when it comes to design. I hear industries out there that are using AI more and more and more for parts of their jobs. So definitely important to make sure we're utilizing it. And today I'm just going to show you how you can use it to help brainstorm. There are other courses and other times where we use it to design images, to design graphics. If any of you came from my Photoshop online course in the fall, you would have seen how we used Adobe's AI Firefly to create graphics for a movie poster. But today we're going to focus on brainstorming. But I will give you a little tip here when it does come to using whether it's AI, whether it's ChatGPT or any other, it's all about your prompt. So I'm going to put a prompt in here, kind of just showing you a little bit about what I'm writing. So here's one thing when it comes to your prompt, tell AI what it is, who it is, how much experience it has. You have to let it know that it's smart, kind of a thing. And be very specific to what you're looking for it to do. I often don't just ask it to come up with one answer. I ask it to come up with like 5 or 10 answers so then I can mull through those to find the best one. You also need to be careful about whether or not you can use AI like as it is, or if you need to reinterpret it into your own words and that kind of thing. But when it comes to brainstorming, we don't really need to worry about that. And that's what we're doing here. So here's what I wrote. I told it that it's an expert social media marketer. It has 15 years of social media marketing experience for higher education institutions and graphic and web design. I'm being very specific because in your assignment number 2, you're going to end up creating an ad for the graphic and web design program page. I haven't introduced that assignment yet, so it's a little look into it. And so that's why I'm being very specific to graphic and web design. Your social media ads help draw younger students into your program. You keep up on social media trends and you know what younger audiences like to see. Come up with 10 ideas I could use for social media content. Identify whether it is for a post, a reel, or a story. Think deeply. It's important to tell AI to take its time and go slow. My job depends on this as we need more students to enroll in our program. Let it know it's important. If if I turn this around on a different type of industry, let's say you are, I'll go back to Nike. I've used that one before. Like, let's say you're Nike. You might tell it, again, my job depends on this as we are needing the younger, more of the younger generation to buy our tennis shoes or whatever product, or maybe it's the older generation, whatever you're looking for. Just you can easily twist this up and make it specific to whatever area of the industry. All right, let's run this through and see what it spits out. While it's spitting this out, because it might go a little slower since I asked it to think longer, I'm going to run the same prompt through Copilot and we'll just see how the two do. All right, running back here. So they're kind of going with like I didn't think I was creative until confession stories. That's kind of cool. Then you could go to students, current students, past students, or designers, anyone who wants to be a designer, and kind of ask them this. I didn't think I was creative until, and see how they finish it. That's kind of fun. Um, Short raw clips of students finishing the sentence, why it works. Like, yeah, it's got real people in it. We like that. So a vertical selfie video, dorm, lab background, no script, one take. So it's very candid, which we like. All right. What else do they got? Design, assignment, real world outcome. Okay, these are huge. So this would be like showing examples of what students have created. We've done a lot of that kind of stuff. So, that's kind of cool. People like to see what students are doing. Things I wish I knew before starting the program. So they're going to say this is also a reel. The last one they were saying could be a carousel post. Let's see, the day in the life of a graphic and web design student. So that's kind of fun. We've done some things like that. This or that design, a designer edition. So this would be like story, interactive polls. So, okay, all right, getting people to interact. That's kind of cool. Asking them to pick Mac versus PC, which is often a fun um, debate. From zero to portfolio piece. Okay, that's cool. All right. Like that. They're a little real idea. Design skills that actually make money. That's kind of fun. The whole point is thinking of things that your audience would be interested in. So you really have to think about what would I watch? What would make you, and what do you choose what you watch? Is it stuff that makes you laugh? Is it stuff that makes you learn? Is it just stuff that keeps you engaged? Is it stuff that keeps you on the edge of your seat? Is it right? Is it stuff that has people you know in it that share things with you? Is it stuff that has a lot of likes, a lot of shares, a lot of views? Like what do you watch? Why do you watch what you watch? Professor reacts to student work. That's kind of funny. I had a student do something like that last year. They wanted me to critique a video game with them as they played it, and I don't know anything about video games, and it was kind of comical. So we actually had fun doing that. You don't have to be an artist to be a designer. Anyway, you get the idea. And maybe there's something here that would get you like, hey, I have an idea. Let's see what Copilot came up with. Design glow up before and after. So they're showing a transformation of a sketch to a finished portfolio piece. This was in one of those two. From zero to portfolio piece. Day in the life, that was one that ChatGPT had kind of given as well. A student spotlight carousel. So same, ChatGPT gave me that one as well. Mini challenge, recreate this logo. Okay, that's kind of fun. Faculty Tip Tuesday. That's kind of cool idea. Career pathways, where could this take you? Tool Wars, Figma versus Photoshop story, like, right? All right, the other one had this exact same thing. A campus tour. Okay, anyway, just showing you how you can use this to get ideas when you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I'm on maybe you don't feel like your brain's being super creative that day. And the only downside I would say from this is you're seeing the results are quite similar from one AI to the next. So after you use a few of these, then what? Well, then you're gonna have to come up with a new prompt. So, okay. Maybe change your audience, maybe change what you're telling it to do. Maybe it's like come up with things that'll make people laugh or that kind of a thing, right? You just got to change your prompt. So I'm gonna actually roll with like the zero to portfolio piece idea in our activity today. It's not gonna be that entirely, but it's gonna have that concept behind it. Um, all right, we are gonna head. I think we're gonna do the Snapchat piece first. I'm gonna show you, well, you probably already know how to do this, but I'm just gonna show you how you can take this idea and use tools that you're probably already using to create something that you could use as an assignment down the road. So, in order for me to show you the Snapchat piece, I'm going to have to mirror in my phone to get into Snapchat. And we're just going to make the best of that and how this turns out. So, you'll kind of have to bear with me a little bit on that. So, I'm going with the zero to portfolio piece. So, I've got my phone here. I'm just going to go ahead and mirror into my laptop. All right, cool. You're seeing that. So I'll head to my Snapchat and I'll kind of give you a little rundown of what I'm going to do here. So I've got this box that's not wrapped. I've got some nice sunlight coming in right now. Might have to close my blind, but I think for the sake of what we're doing here, we can suffer through it. This isn't going to be a piece I actually post, so we're okay with this. And I'm going to do a mashup in Snapchat. So I'll create a video. Um, I'll create a video. I'll end up coming into the ground, right? I'm going to stop it there and then I'll lift up and it'll be a new thing. So I'll kind of, and I've got just, even though I'm not actually wrapping this present, I'm going to give the appearance that I just wrapped this present. So I'm going to come out in, create a video, stop it. I'll hit the plus sign. I'll switch the presents out, create my next video where I come up and it's going to end up replacing with this one. So that's kind of the concept here. Maybe I'll use myself. All right. Oh, here we go. So I'm gonna try not to talk to this during this at all, so that way, um, yeah, it's not in my video. Okay, I'll go ahead and preview this. Right, giving you that little impression. And um, now I could add sound to it, music, whatever, you know the drill. So going back to the idea of the portfolio piece. So this could be showing like my sketchbook. I take a video into my sketchbook, kind of do the same thing. My phone all the way down and in. That's the one video. I click the plus button to add to the mashup, and then I come out showing my laptop screen with the finished product or a printed piece or whatever. You get the idea. So I'm just showing you how you can easily probably take what you guys already do with creating these mashups to something that could be used for social media marketing to, yeah, promote things. You see stuff like this with like t-shirt swaps. So someone's wearing one shirt and they throw a shirt at them, and then all of a sudden they're wearing the other shirt. Like that's just the same concept here. And so, yeah, I can add some video or some sound. So let's go ahead and put some sound to this. Something if I just had present for everyone under one great big Christmas tree. There we go. I could then download it. Great big Christmas. So now that's saved to my camera roll, and I could send that to my laptop. So actually, to do that, if I go to my photos, I'm on an iPhone, obviously, you're seeing here. So I can now go and share this to myself. and just send that to my laptop, and I could have that if I was going to work with that on something else. Now, the only thing I'd probably do differently is I'd change where the song is being listed. I probably shouldn't move that, hide it. Probably shouldn't have that in the middle of my frame here because that's going to bother me. So definitely take a little bit of time to place that where you want it to. Um, for time's sake there, I'm just going to leave that annoyingly in the middle. Okay, I'm done with that. So I'm going to quit sharing and mirroring that, and we'll now go into kind of the Adobe Express piece. But just to show you, there's the downloaded file. May not, the quality may not be that great mirroring from my phone. Hopefully this one's a little bit better. Only if I just had present one under one great big Christmas. Okay, and you can see how now the timing of sound is important. Like this is attention to detail stuff. This is just a demo, so we're not wasting time. I'm trying to keep the video short for you so you can play with this stuff. But things that I would do differently, like I feel like I need to make this reel a second or two longer because I kind of want to finish the word tree there or whatever, right? I want to figure out what part of the song I need here. The lights were bothering me, the shadows, so I would probably redo all that. Like this isn't one of those. As a marketer, we don't get that lucky taking one clip, one reel, one video. I mean, sometimes we only got one chance because we can't ask someone to redo their vows or their first kiss getting married or whatever, or walk across the stage getting their diploma. We can't ask them to do that again. You get one chance. So there are times when you got to get it right the first time, but there are other times when you get to take your time and make sure you get everything right. And I would move this icon here to not be right in the middle. Now, maybe you're like, well, what about other things like stickers or text? Yes, I could have added those here too. The neat thing with Snapchat is I just showed you how you could do that out of Snapchat. But the fact that I downloaded it now means this could be for Instagram, this could be for Facebook. This doesn't have to be for Snapchat at all. I just used it as my editing tool. Okay. I've had students in the past use TikTok for that. Um, and create their like videos out of there that they use for this next assignment we have going on. All right, so next we're going to head to Adobe Express and show you how you can create content out of there. You probably haven't signed into this yet, so hopefully we don't run into any issues, but let's go to, I'm just going to Google Adobe Express. So you should all have been invited to the Adobe Creative Cloud package from Southwest Tech. If you were in my Photoshop or Aaron's Illustrator class last fall, you will be in here no problem. If you weren't, again, you should have received an email inviting you to our Adobe product. If you already use it from your high school or your business or have it personally, you need to make sure you're signed in under Southwest Tech. And I'll kind of show you that here in a second. So once you click on the Adobe Express link, it should take you to something like this. You should see how you're signed in right here. If you haven't ever used it before, it may not be signed in at all, and you might see sign in, and you can do that. If you look like you're already signed in, see what email you're signed in under. If it's not the swtc.edu email, you should sign out and sign back in because you're going to miss out on features. Our subscription gives you access to more features like generative AI. We can actually use Adobe Express to generate content that doesn't exist. So there's that. There's templates, premium templates that you get access to under this that you may not have under any personal account. So I'm going to pretend that we have some sign-in issues. We usually do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit sign out here just to kind of show you that process because I learned a little bit last semester on things that go on here. When you sign in, again, make sure you're using the email address that was supplied to you from Southwest Tech, not your personal email, not your high school email if that's what you have, not your business email. This is the window that was tripping some people up in previous courses. You cannot hit personal account. You have to hit company or school account. If you have multiple company or school accounts, again, make sure you're choosing the right one in the next window that should come up. Make sure you're choosing the Southwest Tech one. When you do get signed in, again, you can make sure up here it says SWTC up there. Okay, from here at the top window, we're going to go to Express. You should see, though, you do have access to all these other things. Firefly is like a generative application. It's like a chat GPT, but it just generates images. Uh, Photoshop, maybe you're familiar with. It's just a web version. Same with Lightroom. Acrobat is like for PDFs and creating PDF files. And then there's Stock, which you could get for stock graphics if you wanted to download anything to use there. However, I think I would, since this is a digital marketing class, I feel like Stock doesn't work. It's not real. It doesn't connect with your audience. And being a digital marketer is all about connecting, and stock images just fall flat. So we have to be real cautious of those. All right. So from Adobe Express, you can kind of choose what you're creating here, and we're going to go to social media ads. And then you can choose what you're creating. And this is where when we talked about sizes is important. You really need to know what you're doing here. If you were to choose Instagram story or Instagram reel, it tells you the dimensions below. They're the same dimensions. So probably doesn't really matter other than maybe lengthwise, the templates are different. We're going to pretend what we did in Snapchat there might have been for a story. So I think I'll do reel here. Next week in our activity, we're going to do posts. So today is more so about videos and stories and reels. So I'm going to go ahead and choose an Instagram reel. Again, even if it's not for Instagram, that's fine. It's the size that matters. So just because I choose this one doesn't mean it has to go to Instagram. It's just, no, it's these dimensions. So that could work for Snapchat, that could work for Instagram, that could work for Facebook, that could work for YouTube Shorts, right? You get the idea. TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and browse templates. I could create from scratch, by the way. I have an artboard with nothing on it. Today we're going to work with a template just to give you the introduction here into Express. And then next week I'll maybe teach you a little bit more with things from scratch or with using media kits or brand kits and things like that. I don't know if you've ever used Canva before, but this is essentially Canva. Why are we using Adobe Express and not Canva? Just because if you have an Adobe subscription, this is built into it with premium features. In Canva, it would be another subscription you have to pay for. So that's really the only difference. So other than that, when you learn one, you know how to use the other one. So if you've used Canva before, this should be quite simple for you. Okay, so I'm thinking of the whole like before after concept. Maybe I'll just even use the video I just took from Snapchat, and I'm gonna take a peek at this one right here. So if I click it, it's gonna load like I'm gonna use it. So if you're like, oh, I didn't want that one, just don't click them. Hover over them to see what they do, and once you know you want it, then click on it. So even if you're like, well, what I'm doing isn't for Happy New Year, oh, it doesn't. Remember, it's a template. You can change anything about it. But if you didn't really want the fireworks exploding, I mean, that part's a little tough. You could delete the video and put your own video in, but that's kind of what you're looking for. And when I seen this one, I'm like, oh, I could swap that video out here for my video. I can change the text, and I think I could work with this. The whole point of choosing the template is just saving you some time. You could probably search content. So if there's something you were looking for, you could try and search for a theme or topic in your template and just see what comes up there. But I think I can work with this. The whole point of this, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here because I want to give you more time to do this, but I'm thinking about that safe zone, and I already don't really want this on there. So just like most things, if you click it, you can hit your delete key to delete or remove. Or if you click it, you can edit then here. if I want to change the text, the font choice, what it says, that kind of a thing. So that's kind of a big one. Also, so that's your right hand, or I'm sorry, your left hand side. So your left hand side is kind of the editing, the changing. The right hand side over here is more your layers. So if you want to select something in this layering group, that's what's going to be over here. Um, so if you're having trouble getting something back there, that's probably what's going on here is just these layers. So I'm going to grab this and delete it. I don't want that there. And I don't want this to say new reels. So if I double click in here, I can get to live text. Maybe this is going to be like before and after, because I was going with that concept of zero to portfolio piece. I'll keep this in all caps like they have. And if I don't like the font size, right, I can highlight that. And over here then is where I can change font size. So if I want that to be smaller, or I can erase it and type in a new number. If I want a different font, I can hit, got it. And then I can search other typefaces that are available in here. Think about readability and things like that. Maybe I'll shrink this down even more now. We're going to go 145. So I can just type that in. Let's see. I'm not going to get into some of this more advanced stuff right now. I'm going to keep this one pretty simple for today. Give you time to play around. As far as this picture goes, so notice that when I click it, there's two layers here because it's that white border and then the picture. So the border is totally separate. So if I wanted to change the color of that border, right, I'd have to select that here and then I could change the color of it. Not saying I would, but just showing you that you can do that. And you could change the color of that text too. So if I wanted, maybe just one of the words to be different, I could do that too. Um, Keeping in mind readability, you want to make sure that you have good color contrast for readability. Not really thinking about some good design stuff here right now, just more or less showing you how to use it. And then swapping this video out. So if I click on that video here, there's a replace option. Well, there's a crop, there's mute if you have sound, and replace. So I'm actually going to go ahead and replace, and I will replace with upload. So I kind of uploaded my video there that I took from Snapchat, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And now, if I play this, only if I just had present one under one. Right? So cool. And now I've got like some text that's in there. And a few other things. I think that's a different video because my video had the dumb sound thing right in the middle, but you get the idea. Let's see, if I wanted this whole group to be bigger, I would have to make sure the group is selected because if I just resize one, right, now I'm resizing the video, but not that background color. So I'm going to back out at this, show you that again, right? If you clicked into it, you can back out of that. If I click here now, then the whole group is selected. So now if I resize, I'm resizing that whole group. So that's just a little tidbit there. I'm going to actually remove probably whatever that thing is. I don't think I need that. And then maybe these pieces are too small since I made my video bigger. So I might have to rearrange them or make them bigger or do something with them since I made my video bigger. Okay. And so now I'm thinking my safe zone, this stuff might be covered up and I'm okay with that. I could probably crop my video a little bit more if I were to maybe even make my video larger, right? And pull that up more just to keep that present higher. Let's see what that looks like. Only if I just had. Yeah, it still works. One. And so to do that, I just, double clicked into that and then it kind of shows you what the size of that video is. And then if you just click off again, it goes off. So one click selects it, two clicks gets into like an editing mode. And if you ever are like, oh, I did too much, or you Command Z will undo. Like if you're like, oh, I don't like undo, then yeah, if you hit that Command Z, like I'm gonna hit that undo, then it'll undo that. Um, let's see. I think it moved this guy again, or it didn't save that change after I did some other stuff. Okay. So that's kind of it. Like maybe this is ready for me to upload now. So if I'm ready with my project here, or I'm done, I can download that. And since this is going to be a story or a reel, that's going to be an MP4 file. And I would leave that at the 1080p, right? The original size. So I'm just going to go ahead and download that. I don't need to, it's saying it can resize it while you wait. So I'm not too concerned about that. So I'll hit OK here. And then when that's done, that'll be in my downloads folder. What can I tell you while that's finishing downloading? So it's telling you the status up in here. If you go to your home, so right now this says it's an untitled project. So I can title this up here if I want to. I'm going to just call this week 2 activity. So I just renamed that so it's titled now. If I go back to Adobe Express homepage, right? It's kind of where we started. And if I go to my stuff, that's still there. So here's one that I was practicing on beforehand. And then they stay untitled like this if you don't intentionally go up there and title them. Here might be one that we create down the road. Once we create a brand kit, we might look at doing something more like this for a specific target. But I'll just actually show you this. Something they created or we kind of created last year. And this is all started out of a template. We probably searched for donut templates and then changed the content. Looks like spelling error there, which happens. We didn't actually use that. That was just in class practice to show the students. Back to your stuff. Adobe Express saves automatically, so there's not like a save button I need to look for here. Um, yeah. So I'm going to come back to the home here, back to my stuff. And so it puts the most recent thing you worked on up top, FYI. But with that video should be downloaded now. So now that's in my downloads folder. Go ahead and show you that. And so this is what it would look like if that was uploaded as a reel. Only if I just had present grade one under one. And yeah, so I wouldn't have to have added that sound in Snapchat. You see, there's a option to add sound here in Adobe Express. I could have done it there, and I may not have had this exact song though. That would be the only difference. Those the type of music, but just fun to create a layout, a little bit different than just having that video take up the whole screen. Now you get like a little layout piece. But this is also the stuff I talk about where you got to worry about text getting covered up with that safe zone. So um, I just wanted you to play around with these. Hopefully, you were following along with me, creating some content. And I just want you to share what you created here in the discussion board. They're probably both either some types of video or something. So you saw me download them, export them. I have an iPhone to a Mac, so it's really easy for me to share files to myself. I mean, you can also email it to yourself if you have to get it to a computer, so that you could share that here. You can also download Schoology app on your phone, and then you can share those files from your phone straight to Schoology if that's easier. But I think it's important to share what you're working on because it might inspire somebody else and be like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like, didn't even think of that. I mean, nothing I was showing you here is finished work. It was more or less just introducing how to do stuff. And I'm not asking you to do anything amazing, but I am always amazed at what students do in in a short amount of time when they're just playing around. And that's all I'm asking you to do is play around, have a little fun. Show me what you created out of Snapchat. Show me what you brought here out of Adobe Express and get some pretty easy points. As always, if you have questions, if stuck logging in to Adobe Express, send me an email. Be happy to help. And I hope you enjoyed this activity and had a little fun with it. Have a good rest of your day.